Very good day. This is Bipin Borgohain from Dubai, Sharjah. Thank you very much for being on my today's session of Industrial Excellence in Operation Management. And here we will discuss about all the practical aspects of managing operation, whether that is for a small company or medium company or a large company, and very effectively with the highest excellence possible. And what are those facts? What are those basic nitty-gritty, the data facts that makes all the differences if we start looking into the operation management excellence overall. And here we will start the first data fact, which is nothing but cost, right? So when we talk about the cost, so when we talk about operation management, any business operation is required. The first is about the cost, how much we are spending in executing that operation, because it's all about the business. So if I am the business owner and I'm investing $100 into that business, which is an investment which from my side, and then I am expecting definitely the business to give me a profit return on investments on that $100 to say another $100 annually. So if I am decreasing, if there is a possibility that in my operational expenses, which is $100, if I can go ahead and fine tune that operational excellence from $100, bring down to $70, and I make $200 end of the year together for the entire year, then I make a profit of $130, right? So my profit margin increases. So first fact, which is about the cost, and this cost is divided into the OPEX and CAPEX. This we all know, which is operational expense and the capital expense, right? So the first and foremost question for operation management is to understand how much of cost we are spending, how much of spending that we are doing for our operations, how much we are shelling out for OPEX, and how much we are selling out for CAPEX. If say, as we told about the example that the business investment is $100 is the investment amount, and this, which is the operation cost, right? I'm investing $100 as the operation cost for certain operation business, certain business to operate on, and then my OPEX is say $60, and my CAPEX is say $40 right now. And if my business, once I perform my business and the output annually is coming to $200, that means my earning is $100. So this $100 is my earning. So as a business owner, for an effective operation, I would like to have excellence applied to decrease this OPEX and this CAPEX, say maybe the OPEX expense from $60 to $40 and the CAPEX expense from $40 to say $20, which will be basically $60, right? So $60 I'm investing, my investment got decreased and my return is nothing but $200. So I have a profit which has increased to $140. This is the basic calculation, and depending on which the rest of the discussions, rest of the protocol, rest of the statistics follow up, right? So the question comes when we talk about the OPEX, the fine tuning of the OPEX and CAPEX. It is all about the OPEX is what? OPEX is basically it is consisting of labor, right? Manpower. You need manpower, labor for the OPEX. Then you have recurring payment, which is also operational expenses, right? say you have bought some softwares, you have bought some services from somebody, okay, which is like maybe licensing. Let me just define as licensing only. So which is kind of recurring expenses, every quarterly or biannual or annually it is coming. So which is coming under OPEX, right? These are all nothing but OPEX. This is also OPEX, right? So these are all operational expenses. Now when we talk about the CAPEX, okay, CAPEX is, which is like one time, right? In OPEX there are infrastructure expenses also comes if you are renting out your place, right? The business, say if you are a restaurant business owner and you are renting out the place for your store. So that particular rent is also coming as an OPEX because that is a recurring, spending which you are giving. So rent, then licensing, labor, right? So, and then any other utilization that you are paying, maybe your telecom bills, maybe your payment to the bank for your POS services and everything, right? So maybe banking services that you require, that is also coming under OPEX. So these are all nothing but OPEX. These are all nothing but OPEX, right? This is also OPEX. So OPEX, labor, licensing, rent, and banking services. These are all OPEX coming. Now, in case of CAPEX, say you have, in this year, you have a restaurant business. You already have 5 restaurants or 5 stores operating, and you are increasing 2 additional or maybe 2 or 3 restaurants you are setting up as an additional entity into your business. So that will be one-time expense that you have to, you have to take that rental. Then on top of that, you have to put the infrastructures within it. You have to manufacture. You have to, build those restaurants and stores. So those one-time, purchase which you are doing right now, one-time purchase, one-time expense, right? That you are giving. So all those one-time expenses is coming into the CAPEX because you are spending that amount as a one-time. In certain scenario, the CAPEX is also applied for softwares, or say you have purchased computers, right? You have purchased the computer devices for your company, the laptops. You are purchasing certain softwares, and then those softwares, single time, one-time payment you are making, right? Direct payment you are making for that particular software, and then licensing, which is a renewable, service cost is a renewable, which is coming under OPEX. But one time, whatever one-time expense is going, all those one-time expenses being denominated by CAPEX. So in short, OPEX and CAPEX, we have understood it. Now if we talk about fine-tuning, bringing the excellence to the OPEX, we will have to talk about the labor optimization. We have to talk about the licensing optimization. We'll have to talk about the whatever operational resources that is being utilized, how to optimize those operational resources that we will have to talk about, right? Now, labor is one of the very subject which can be stressed as well as can be strict, right? So when we talk about labor, this is the area most of the companies, they basically love to take a call on when there is any kind of performance optimization, any kind of excellence optimizations are happening. They do talk about, say, decreasing headcounts, increasing headcounts, right? You have 50 headcounts, from 50 headcounts you decrease it to 30 headcount, from 30 to 20. Say you have a mix and match, you have on-site resources, you have regular employee, say 50 employee, you said that, okay, let me go ahead and make it 30 employees, and then let me make 20 employees as contracted employees. So this is where your human resource transformation, this is where your human resource transformation has to come, right? So you will have to, enable your HR transformation program, which will ensure that you have the right mix and match resources. Wherever there is a say your services do not require very experienced people. Maybe your services, if I give an example, that you have say 50 headcount running in a call center services, right? 50 headcount you have running in a call center services. Out of that 50 headcount, you do not need all the 50 headcounts to be call center experienced people, because if you go ahead and then get those 50 headcounts experienced, you will end up paying money, right? So in order to have the necessary fine tuning into that area, what probably you would like to do, you have to take the appropriate strategy on that. So what you would like to probably do is that you will probably keep five experienced headcount, and you would like to keep 45 freshers, maybe college pass out interns, maybe housewives, maybe educated freshers, college pass out, experience, the housewives and all. So all of those can come in. So it is all freshers combination of experienced resource as well as fresher resource, right? So this is coming here. So that is part of your strategy, HR transformation strategy, which you are applying to ensure that the cost being optimized on the labor part of it, right? Similarly, when we go for licensing, when we go for other recurring services, these are all nothing but recurring services. When you are talking about recurring services, you need to understand what is your current cost, and then we go ahead and review, analyze the utilization. If the company do not require 100 email addresses to be procured from Microsoft email services and only 50 email is more than enough, you pay for 50, right? So that particular transformation is required to be initiated, required to be executed to ensure that whatever is required, that is being consumed. Point number one. Point number two is how much, look for the alternatives, look for options. It is not only that one service provider is the only way to go. There are multiple service providers. So those multiple service providers can be taken into considerations, and whoever is providing the services meeting the requirement with the minimal cost is the vendor to be going for that particular vendor services, right? So this is where the recurring services cost need to be reviewed, very detailed, analyzed, and then the necessary transformation activity need to be done. And all of these things do not require, when we are performing HR transformation, when we are performing the recurring services, analyzing that part, labor, I would say OPEX, cost optimization transformation, we do not require, for the company, we do not require a separate transformation team need to be configured and then they will do it. No, your existing HR team, your existing people who are managing the rest of the recurring services, they are very well responsible to ensure that this entire activity is being done by them, right? So this is the best way to go ahead and decrease the cost of your OPEX without impacting your service quality. Of course, you cannot impact your service quality. When the cost goes down, this is what is the default understanding in the market, that when the cost goes down, the quality will go down. It doesn't happen in that way. As long as you are making the right amount of, you are investing the right amount of time to analyze the data facts around, you have the right amount of, right qualified people looking into that area, getting the data out, taking the right kind of decisions, you can decrease the cost without impacting your service quality. And many a time, there are very capable people, there are very capable professionals who are so much into this transformation exercise that they will definitely take time to analyze, but they will bring up with the solutions for you to decrease the cost, at the same time to increase your service quality also. They have that much of capability. So all you need to find out the right person, give him the responsibility, utilize whatever manpower resources that you have, whatever technical, non-technical resources that you have, and then go ahead, do that activity, perform the activity, apply the necessary solutions and decrease the cost for OPEX. Similarly, in CAPEX also, the same fundamental goes. The vendor providing the services, meeting your requirement with the minimal quotation is something who need to be looked into, right? At the same time, whatever is required, that has to go. Whatever is not required, whatever your budget do not allow, that should be omitted until and unless that particular component is not impacting your business output. Because first of all, your business has to run, right? If I give an example of a store, you are manufacturing a new store, you are manufacturing a new restaurant store. Say for example, you are chain of restaurant and you are manufacturing a new restaurant store, and then in that new restaurant store, branding, all of those things you have done. But I'm just giving an example. You do not need Wi-Fi for the clients, okay? Because that area or that particular locality do not require Wi-Fi for that store. People will come, they will take the food and then they will go, right? So if the Wi-Fi for the customers are not required, there is no point of giving free Wi-Fi, paying money for that. I'm just giving an example, very simple example. Similarly, there are many things, right? Within, if that store is in a very corporate area, right? Of course, the views and visibilities, all of those things matter, right? So it has to be beautiful. The restaurant has to be very much appealing, right? People have to come. They will feel like, okay, this is a professional restaurant. Let me go inside, sit with laptops, have a very working environment. Okay, yes, you need to feed in those utilities within your manufacturing list. But if your store is located within certain residential area where people will come, they will eat and they will go, you will not be requiring those branding components, you will not be requiring those utilities which you require in the store that you have created, that you have manufactured, that you have set up in the professional area, professional locality where the offices and campuses are there. You will not be requiring that. The same thing here where the store is present in a residential locality, right? So those understanding need to be applied. Just because one store has these things, the other store also has to have the same facility and features. It doesn't mean in that way. If that store does not require those things to do business, there is no point of spending money for that. So these are some of the, it's basically on business common sense, right? It is not about showing the things, it's about selling the components. So as long as you are selling your services and products very effectively, that is your ultimate goal. Okay, it is not about displaying your product. It is not about displaying your thing. You have to bring in customer. Your customer has to buy that product and they will leave. So this is what is the transaction that you are looking for. And from that transactional perspective, your capex expense also need to be planned meticulously by people. Of course, in order to do that, you need very practical, business-oriented product management team. The product management team in your company has to be very much business-oriented. They should not be specific to creating softwares or specific to architectures, specific to beautification. No, they have to be specific to actually doing business. They have to have that mindset saying that, yes, say for a restaurant, I am selling biryanis. Okay, I have to sell 200 plates of biryani today. That is my goal. In order to sell 200 plates of biryani, what I will have to do? What are the things that my store requires that I have to put through? What are the things that my business requires that store has to be socialized across the locality? Okay, people have to come. There has to be appropriate customer service, right? The people who will be attending that store, they have to have the right amount of customer service attributes with them. Okay, as long as the people are with the right customer service attributes, yes, customers will keep on coming. One customer comes, that customer will again come, right? As long as the customer service is good. So those things need to be looked into, right? So you need very practical and very business-oriented product management team who will look into the subject from the capex spending, right? Capex spending is not something to be decided alone by your technology team or architect team or manufacturing team, but it has to be overall done by everybody, to be led by the product management team, whose responsibility, sole and sole responsibility, is to sell your product through your business setup that you have created, right? So this particular exercise, this is an elaborate exercise. Yes, of course, you do not require any additional manpower within your company to be hired. You do not require a transformation director. You do not require a transformation manager. Okay, your product management team is more than enough to take up the call. Your architect team is more than enough to take up the call. Your customer service team is more than enough to take up the call. Your existing human resource that you have within your company, they have enough skills to take up the right call for the business, as long as you are giving them the right amount of responsibility to take up the call, right? If you keep their hand tied up with certain KPIs only, they will not go outside of that bubble. Okay, those teams have to provide, saying that for the product management, if the product managers are being provided the responsibility, saying that I am setting up 2 additional stores, okay, please do whatever is required in order to ensure I have minimal spending in setting up those 2 additional stores, and I have sales, which is right now from my 5 stores, I am getting say monthly $500,000 from 5 stores every month. I would like to get the equivalent amount for another 3 stores I am putting up. So that 3 stores, $300,000, I would like to get it at least from the first month onward. So if I am looking for that kind of target, what is best with the minimal spending that we need to do? If we provide that responsibility to the product management team that you have within your company, then they have enough skills, and they have observed the business, they have been serving the business, so they exactly know what needs to be done in order to give you the sale. The target is about the end point. The target is not about starting. The target is about ending. What is the end? The end is about selling, end is about doing business. So as long as that target is something which is the KPI, and depending on that KPI, the reverse engineering is being done, the rest of the spendings will be very, very less. And this is what about the cost optimization requirement is the first requirement for industrial excellence operation management. And once again, this is applicable for any and any business, whether that is a small bakala, a small grocery shop, whether that is a mid business, whether that is a big business, whether that is a multinational business. It doesn't matter. The cost is the first point, depending on which the entire business ballgame runs. Right? Now comes into quality. Okay, the second point is about quality. So we have discussed about the cost. We'll go to the quality. Now, if we talk about quality, let me write down here. Right? So if we talk about quality, of course, after cost, the quality comes. As I stated, okay, you have the right, you are setting up 3 additional stores, 3 additional restaurants, or 3 additional shops for doing business, for selling your product, right? And you are putting up the right numbers of, you have created it as per the requirement, as per the business requirement, as per the customer requirement, as per the locality requirement, and then you are putting up the right amount of employees. You are providing them with the right amount of skills, which are customer service skills, the product manufacturing. You will have to, if it is a store, if it is a restaurant, you will have to manufacture all your products there, right? If it is something like you are selling, if it is a ready-made product store where you are selling, if it is a service, right? Your customer service skill is something which is coming, right? And those particular skills will ensure that the customers are getting the quality service. If it is, in technology space, I am talking about the non-technology space. So in technology space, if we talk about, it's always about the keeping the technology component which you have sold it to the customers to be as per the customer requirement, right? It is up and online, it is available, okay, at any point of time. If the service goes down, the customer knows whom exactly need to be contacted. what are the SLAs, right? All of those ITSM logistics, all of those contracting logistics will come, and then those contracting, adhering to those contracting logistics, adhering to your best customer service logistics, you will achieve the quality, you will maintain the quality. As long as your quality is being maintained, your products are getting sold, your services are getting sold, right? Now, once again, as I stated, that people says if the cost goes down, the overall the quality also goes down. It is not like that. As I stated earlier, there are people, there are very, very skilled resources, there are very, very skilled professionals in the market who exactly know with the minimal spending how the quality can be maximum. At any point of time to provide your, if I give an example for customer care training, most of the companies, they go ahead and spend additional money. They go ahead and hire, external companies, customer care companies, right? Customer care training providing companies. And then they spend quite hefty amount of money in those trainings. The company comes and then their employees, they come for 7 days, 8 days, they train the people and then done, right? So now with that 7 or 8 days of training, of course, people will remember all of those things for next 5 to 6 days. After that, they will forget. Not everybody, but most of them will forget that, and they will go back into the original, whatever they have been doing, they will keep on doing that. And this is where the recurring training practice is mostly being followed in big organizations, very big multinational companies. They follow the recurring training practices, and for those recurring training practices, recurring training, they follow the recurring training practices, which is like every quarterly on customer service, and those trainings, they are not actually getting it done by external parties to save the cost. They sometimes have their own internal human resource being skilled. Their skills are being upgraded. Certain human resource employees are very good in communication. They have been provided with customer service training separately. They know the curriculum. They exactly know what needs to be done. Okay, and those employees are being utilized to provide the recurring training to rest of the employees, and that way the company is getting the recurring training. With the recurring training, it becomes a habit for the employees to remember, because again and again the same facts are being repeated again and again. Everybody remembers. It is a very simple logic, right? So it is something like cramming, which we used to be doing during our academic sessions. We remember, we cram, remember. So like this, recurring training in the customer service space, provide the employee, by default they will remember saying that I need to do this or I need to do this. Okay, this is what I need to do, this is what I don't have to do. So this recurring training is not being done by an external training providing organization, but this is being done by your own internal people. But in case if you do not have it, the companies, it is the best practice that you should upskill one of your HR resources, or few selected HR resources. If you are a very big company, you can have your own training unit being configured within the company. So depending on your company sizing, you can take up the call, but you will have your own existing employee providing this training. This is not only limited to customer support, but this is actually limited to most of the service departments that you have. If you have, say, security, cyber security is one of the area where the entire organization nowadays need to be trained, and that is where if you are hiring an external party to provide the training, it's practically a waste of money. You should utilize your internal existing cyber security employees to create those training plans and go for the recurring training. They will provide the trainings, okay, to rest of the employees within the organization, and this repeated training will ensure that the right amount of service quality is being attained. So there are very much ways, if you take up your time and if you do the necessary homework, if you do the necessary workshop is a very good term, but I say homework, right? If you do the homework with the teams, with the people, with the leadership, that you can utilize your existing resources, existing manpower within the company to ensure that your quality and all your training requirements are being done with without even spending a single additional penny, right? So this is what is a very good component that need to be looked into. Then once your cost is, once your cost of operation decreases without impacting the quality, and once your quality increases, once your cost of operation decreases, once your quality increases with whatever practice I have just stated above, automatically your growth, the business growth also will increase. Automatically the business growth which is here will also increase, right? Your growth, people will know, customer will know your brand, your product, and then your services, and then you will start earning more money, your revenue profit grows, right? So business fundamental, these two components, the cost and quality, is something which will determine your entire operational output, which is growth and profit, right? Operational output, which is growth and profit. And this is why I very, very clearly say that cost and quality are the two critical pillars of industrial excellence operation management. Operation management, excellence. I'm saying industrial because in any industry, across any industry, this excellence practice applies. This is not written in certain books or so, but this is the practical stuff, right? In practically it applies. If you have a decreased cost of operation, if you have increased quality, service quality, or product quality, your growth will eventually happen, and with that growth, your revenue profit increase. This is how the operational fine-tuning, the operational excellence is being driven. And when we talk about this particular cost and quality, there is no dead end to cost and quality. Cost optimization, there is never a dead end to it. It is a continual practice. Okay, that means every month, whatever spendings are happening, it is the finance department, the FNPA departments, they have to look into those expenses. They have to get the necessary justification. At any point of time, if there is any blind eye goes, there will be bleeding happening. You will bleed. You will bleed money. You will bleed money. Because if you are, these two things, cost and quality, if you are keeping your eye out of it at any point of time throughout your entire business execution, every day, every week, every month, every quarter, the entire year, if you are losing visibility, losing giving importance, if you are losing giving importance to any of this at any point of time, please expect you will have money bleeding, because your company will lose money, right? So this is why cost and quality is a continual exercise. It is a continual activity that management and every department has to look into. Every employee of the company is responsible for these two KPIs. Yes, this is not only the KPI, the cost is mostly being put into the KPI factor of department heads and organization heads and organization unit head, right? The people who are sitting on the top level. But believe me, cost and quality, both components are a mandatory KPI for each and every employee within the organization, whether that employee is a ground level employee or whether that employee is a top level employee, right? So that is a different, chapter, little bit we can discuss it, because if we are bringing, say for example, a customer care, I'm just giving a very small example, a customer care executive who is selling your products, if you say the cost, I'm relating the cost, that okay, your regular activities to sell, there is no problem, but if you are, if you are able to sell during your shift, if you are able to sell, if you are able to sell 50 products, 50 units of product every day for next consecutive, 7 days or 5 days in a week. In this week, if you are able to sell 50 products every day or on an average 250 products in 5 days, besides your whatever salary you have, you will get certain incentive, right? This is something like sales target kind of thing, right? Now, if you are giving, but it is not mandatory. If you are not able to do it, no problem. But if you give that try on that area, I am sure, there is a clause will be there, very official clauses, that you will get so much as an incentive into your salary. Now, the mindset difference will happen is that the moment that is not being mandatory, that is an optional, but an employee has the capability or has the feasibility to earn additional money. So what each of the employees in that customer care division they will try to do is that they will try to sell more product, right? They will be very courteous. They will never compromise with their customer service, right? They will never compromise with their they will not allow the customers to create any feel any discomfort while they come to the stores or they come to the business unit to take their services. And end of the day, what happens is that your sales are going more and you are sharing that achievement with your employees. Your employees models also are increasing, and then you will have retainment of that employee for a very longer time, and your sales are increasing, which is the most important thing, right? Your business is increasing, your business is getting good name because quality, the service quality is increasing. And this is why I say when we talk about cost, the cost is not the KPI only for the leadership, only for the people who are sitting on the top level. The cost is also a very mandatory KPI for each and every employee within the organization. If the HR along with the business stakeholders within the company, if they sit together, they will be able to find out the respective KPI without obviously making very non-required pressure on the employees, but very acceptable cost related incentive programs can be created, which will increase the overall service excellence from your company to your customer, and also will give an increase to your revenue as well as profit. So this cost and quality are the two main pillars, and depending on which the growth and revenue comes in, your cost can go down with all due discussions, your quality can go up with all due discussions, and at the same time, if cost goes down, quality goes up, you will have growth, you will have revenue and profit increase, and all of these operational excellence can be done by utilizing whatever manpower within your company. You do not require additional vendors to come in, do research. You do not require to shell out additional money to those additional vendors, right? Extra vendors, and then do the things for you. Your existing employee can do this as long as you have the right set of employee, you have the right set of management, and you need to give chances to the people, right? Nobody is born or nobody comes with all the skills in their hand, but you have the chance. The moment you give the necessary opportunity and chance to your employees, I'm sure they will do their own homework and they will give the best. They will learn wherever from required, and then they will provide you the services. They will meet your expectations accordingly. So I think it has been a very good session. So this is Bipin Borgohain once again from Dubai, Sharjah. In case if you would like to discuss, you can definitely connect with me in LinkedIn, and then we can go ahead from there. Thank you very much, and then we will meet very soon in my next session speaking on certain other practical business subject. Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye-bye.